Good evening and welcome back to Always Scales. We are on part 7 of the Tales of Aria set review. That releases on September the 24th at your local game store. Today we're going to go over the lightning cards. So first up is the legendary equipment Shock Charmers. No defense, but has Spell Void 2, so you can destroy it to prevent 2 arcane damage. It has an ability, pay 2. The next time an attack action card you control hits a hero this turn, it deals 1 damage to them. So we've got a couple of things going on. This card is obviously made for aggression. It's a lightning equipment, so only Lexi and Briar can use the equipment. Both of them have strategies that want their attack actions to deal additional damage. So I could see either one of them wanting to run this in their deck. Right now, the only glove equipment or arms equipment that Runeblade has is the Grasp of the Arknight, and that makes rune chant tokens, which is fine, but that one actually has a defensive value and is battle worn, so it can absorb some hits and still be useful. I think it's battle worn, it might be temper, but either way, it can still absorb some hits. Shock Charmers does not, except for arcane damage, right? And only one time. So it's a delicate balance. Which one do you want to run? I could see scenarios where Briar would want to run this over Grasp of the Arknight. I don't know if I could see Lexi playing this over the other Ranger equipment that I could for arms. I could be wrong, since you can do this turn after turn. I guess it really depends on how how often you can trigger this ability. It is an instant, so you can do this after they block, after they play defense reactions, so it's going to hit. So you're basically converting 2 resources into an additional point of damage. There's definitely some interest there. Again, this will have to be one that we add to our need to test for effectiveness group. That's what I'm going to be doing during the next week, is starting to theory craft decks using what we have now that we have a full set spoiler, to try to attack the metagames that's out there, right? That's what I'm going to be theory crafting, and then we're going to do some testing. Hopefully, I get to do some of those games online with you guys, and we'll see how they go and see how much my theory crafting actually worked or didn't work. The common equipment is Mark of Lightning. When a lightning or elemental attack you control is defended by a card from hand, you may destroy Mark of Lightning. If you do, the attack deals 1 damage to the defending hero. So it basically lets you force a point of damage through. Again, this is the same scenario, right? It's Lexi and Briar is the only ones that can play it. Think the Shock Charmers are a better overall piece of equipment than Mark of Lightning. Um, as far as constructed worthiness goes. Alright, now we're going to get to Channel Thunderstep. This is a 1 cost majestic lightning aura, 3 defense, pitches for 2, go again. When you play an action card, you may pay 1. If you do, it gains go again. Channel Lightning. At the beginning of your end phase, put a flow counter on Channel Thunderstep. Then destroy it unless you put a lightning card from your pit zone on the bottom of your deck for each counter on it. So of the 3 that we've seen, I think that Channel Thunderstep is the worst of the 3. If you are already building a lightning deck, or a deck that's heavy lightning, you're already skewed toward the go again mechanic, because that's what a lot of the lightning cards give. When fused or whatever, right? This does give the go again to each card that's played. The problem you're going to run into is you have to pay the 1 to always give it go again. And where I would think you're going to run into issues with both Lexi and Briar is you want to keep their aggressive cards as cheap as possible. The turn that you play this, you have to pay 1. So typically you're going to be pitching at least 1 card. Then you're going to have to play a card, and if it doesn't have go again, you're going to have to pay 1 to give it go again. So that's already 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. That's already 4 cards that you've had to play. If they all cost 1, if they all had if they all pitched for 1. So in my opinion, the reason this one is the worst of the 3 is the Earth one. Every card they play is a +3. You're having to pitch a big card to play a big card in the Oldham Earth deck. In the either the Lexi or the or even in Briar, if you're completely on Earth, which I don't think you will be, but in both the ice strategies, that card is just insane for the what it forces your opponent to play around. Giving go again to everything is magnificent, but when you're having to pay resources to do so, when you'd rather play cards for free that already have go again, or even worth paying a card or playing a card that costs 1 that has go again, rather than having to pay for their card and pay for the go again. And I hate it because Mark Poole was a fantastic artist, and this is another one of his pieces of art. But I see this one getting the least play of those 3. Next up is quite possibly one of the most interesting cards in the entire set. 0 cost Blink. Pitches for 3 resources, is a lightning instant, and it just says gain 1 action point. Um, Now, I don't know about you, but I'm trading a card in for a resource for an action point. A single card at instant speed. Um, this can completely mess up somebody's math. Now, costing the card is a problem. So, um, setting up a 5 card hand with this in your arsenal or something else in your arsenal and this in your hand um, can be tricky with all of the arsenal hate and now discard that they're throwing at you if you don't pay resources. And you can get some awkward hands with this, right? You could draw a double blink hand and not be able to use all the action points, right? Um, I mean, but I could even see some dumb scenarios where you go time snap potion while this is on the chain, blink. Or even better, you play the time snap potion. You draw back. You put this in your arsenal. You draw back up, and then your next turn, uh, you pop the time snap potion. In response to that uh, activated ability, you play blink. So now you have um, 3 action points to go nuts on with a 4 card hand. Um, Now, how many of these you want in your deck, and how usable it will be in context, will be interesting. At least with the time snap potions, you can kind of say, okay, I've had to waste a turn blocking. I don't have much to do this turn. I'll play this. I'll put a card in arsenal, draw back up. So you're telegraphing it more. Where this, you can sort of surprise somebody with it. But honestly, the time snap potion seems a little better since you can get it in play, get it on the field, and then the turn that you actually want to do the nutty turn, you can go, okay, now here we go. Um, all right, so now we're getting DC characters into the game with the Flash. Uh, Cost 0, defends for 2, comes in all 3 pitch values. The next action card you play this turn with cost 0 or greater gains Go Again, and has Go Again. And then increase 1 or greater and 2 or greater for the varying costs. So this is like Chain's hero ability. Except for you're having to play a card out of your hand to do it. Now, if you're playing a go wide strategy, and you need a reason to give one of your other cards Go Again and can't do it any other way, then this is a fine way to do it. I try to be a little more as economical as possible with the cards that I play in my decks. Um, Now this will at least help you splice. Think of the magic term, splice onto arcane. Sorry, fuse with other lightning cards. Um, so I guess the biggest question is going through and saying which one of how many of these cards does not have Go Again that I want to have Go Again. And there is a few in Lightning uh, that doesn't have Go Again natively. Not many, but a few. So it is possible that you want this in your deck, but it does say your next action card. So it could that you could play this with your Ruin Blade action cards. You could play this with your Ranger action cards. Not that there's that many of those, but still. Um, and Go Again is a fantastic trait. Um, but I'd rather my permanents have a way to give it Go Again rather than cards from hand, unless it's actually doing something else like buffing the attack, the power of the attack, or drawing me a card, something of that nature. Which with Go Again would be crazy, right? All right, next up is Weave Lightning. Of course, this is one of the promo cards from the September kit. It is 0 cost, 2 defense. It comes in all 3 pitch values. The next lightning or elemental attack action card you play this turn gains +3 attack. If it was fused, it gains Go Again, and this has Go Again. So, in my opinion, if you're running a lightning deck or a lightning and elemental deck, obviously based on the card pool that we have, if I were wanting to play a card I guess I misread this. So Flash does it on an action card. Um, so this one actually might be quite helpful for Briar. I misread that. Sorry, guys. So this actually would be pretty useful for Briar. Anyway, moving back to Weave Lightning. So this is a card that I'd want as a pump effect and a Go Again. That way you can kind of go wide with play this, play your attack that requires that has the ability to fuse. Show your last card in hand for the fuse. Then you get to play that last card, where you can get to play 2 attacks on the turn, or maybe 2 attacks and then a swing with a weapon, right? And of course, the bonus here, it decreases as you go from go up in pitch value. All right, next up is Lightning Press. So this is a lightning instant, a cost 0, and it gives target attack action card with cost 1 or less gains +3 attack. So this is for the low to the ground aggressive decks that want to play cards that cost 1 or less. Which, I'll be honest, most of the lightning cards and many of the cheap elemental cards are already doing. And not having to pay for the card is also very good. I think the biggest issue is this has less utility than you think because of the no defense. We have to deal with so many cards in our deck that have a defense, that when you draw that hand and you're going, ooh, I need to defend with this hand. And you can't because you drew multiple cards that have 0 defense, like this and Time Snap Potion, for example. Well, actually, any of the potions, really. kind of puts you in a bad situation. So you don't want too many of this type of effect in your deck for that reason. That being said, if you need a way to push through damage, um, this is definitely a high-powered way to do it in lightning. Next up might be one of the more interesting cards from this set. Is Ball Lightning, uh, which should cost 3, but it costs 0, and it should attack for 6, and doesn't. And many of the Magic community will get my joke. It also defends for 0, which it's interesting that it just has it does have a defense icon and a 0. So I guess there are ways to increase the defense value. But I expected this to read Magic players will recognize. I'm going to go all the way down to the blue version for just a second. So I expected this to cost 3, pitch for 3, attack for 6, and have 1 defense. Which obviously are the stats of the Magic version of Ball Lightning. Whenever a Lightning or Elemental action card would deal damage to this combat chain, instead, it deals that much damage plus 1. Go again. Okay, so Lexi wants to hit you with arrows, but Ball Lightning is not an insignificant attack for the lightning side of her deck because it buffs her other attacks this turn if everything's already been set up properly. Where this card shines is the Briar deck. There there were some other cards earlier that if they in the Elemental Ruin Blade section, that if they hit, gave an on-hit trigger. If they hit, they deal one damage, arcane damage to an opponent, etc. And so you play that, then you play Ball Lightning. So the Ball Lightning is going to buff itself as well. So it's going to go from dealing a 3 damage to dealing 4 physical damage. And each instance of deal 1 arcane damage to a hero will read for the rest of the turn, as long as you don't break the combat chain, deal 2 arcane damage to target hero or defending hero. And that's where the turns get really messy, is when those combine. Despite this, attacking for 3, 2, and 1, which seems very low in this deck, this is a fantastic effect to to really put pressure on your opponent, particularly if you're trying to go wide. Playing 3 cards a turn this turn, or 4 cards this turn. So be wary of this. This is one of those cards. If they start with something that deals arcane damage this turn, expect it to be probably followed up with a Ball Lightning to really mess with your math. All right, next up is Lightning Surge. 0 cost lightning attack, defends for 2. attacks for 4, 3, and 2. And if it was played from Arsenal, it gains Go Again. So more cards that that gain a bonus if played from Arsenal. And I think every element has one of these. So it's like some of Dash's boost cards. You're playing just a huge number of cards that are low attack usually, but you can always boost and always gain Go Again. These are a little more tricky, so I only expect to see the red one played, because to give it Go Again, you have to play it from Arsenal or have another effect that does it. Plus, you want the maximum damage output that you can go for the aggressive deck. Alright, Heaven's Claws is next. It's a 1 cost, 3 defense, and 5 attack lightning attack action. And scales down from there. So a 1 for 5 and a 1 for 4 isn't bad. A 1 for 3 is a little meh. No real game text other than that. So typically you're running this if you need more lightning cards, and you're typically only going to run the 1 cost or the red and maybe the yellow version, because it doesn't really have any other game text. A Shock Strider is the next one. So this is also a 1 cost, lightning attack action, 2 defense, 5 attack for the red. Once per turn instant, you can pay an additional 2, and Shock Strider gains. If Shock Strider hits a hero this turn, deal 1 damage to them. So what you would inevitably be doing if you use that ability is you would be paying 3 total for a 5 attack that if it hits, it deals an additional damage, which would be a 3 for 6, technically. I'm not completely sold on this one, unless we had Ball Lightning earlier, right? Ball Lightning that was 0, you get that one in, and now you're adding extra damage down the chain. So there is potential for, a 1 for 5 is great rate. Even the 1 for 4 in the yellow is great rate. Having to pay 2 to gain this additional effect is where you get it. 3 for 6 is fairly normal, and you can wait until they have declared blocks, declared defense reactions, etc., before you do this, which actually does seem to help the card's overall playability or flexibility. But this one may not be good enough in the lightning deck if you are wanting to leverage the instant portion. I would almost try to play it unless you just get one of those scenarios where, hey, I can't do anything else this turn, I might as well just pay the additional, see if I can get the extra damage through, and go from there. But yeah, I'd be playing it as a 1 for 5 or 1 for 4, and even consider this mostly blank uh, with a slight upside later if I needed it. Electrify. Uh, this might go for one of the more bonkers commons in the set. 1 cost, 2 defense, lightning action. The next time an attack action card hits a hero this turn, it deals 3 damage to them. If this card was played from the arsenal, draw a card and go again. And of course, the yellow and the blue, low, slide down the damage. But I just want to stick on the red Electrify. So my background is in Magic the Gathering, Legend of the Five Rings, and many, many other CCGs. A 1 cost, 3 damage spell is rather nuts. A 3 damage 1 cost card that draws a card. The word bonkers is not even a good quality identifier for this card. Even if it's drawing a card only sometimes, if I was playing mono red burn in Magic, being able to deal 3 damage to a creature or player and drawing a card would be the best red direct damage spell of all time. Full stop. Now, you thought people were blocking hard on Chill to the Bone to stop 3 Frostbite tokens, but they don't want to get bolted by this. And they really don't want to get hit by all this extra damage in Briar's deck because they're having to deal with physical damage, they're having to deal with arcane damage, they're having to deal with this random damage on top of it. And then Lexi, if she wants to shoot multiple arrows a turn and really put you under the gun, I can't block it all in the same turn. I'm probably taking damage. But yeah, this if Electrify would be played from Arsenal, draw a card on top of 3 damage is nuts. Now I expect to potentially see all 3 colors or pitch values played, but that red one scares the bejesus out of me. All right, and our final card from the lightning section is the Amulet of Lightning. It is a 0 cost blue pitch, no attack or defense, lightning action item. Go again. Destroy Amulet of Lightning. Target attack action gains go again. Activate this ability only if you have Lightning Fuse this turn. So, I think overall, this is the weakest of the 3. Simply because in the decks that you're going to be able to trigger the lightning fusion the most, you are probably already have a lot of attacks that either have base go again or gain go again from the fusion. So that makes it a little more difficult to play and set up this. If you're doing a split deck, it also makes it difficult because now you have less lightning cards that you can fuse with this. So this amulet probably of the group plays the worst with their particular group of attacks. Now, This actually says action card instead of attack action card, and another one I've completely misread. Um, Now, there are still quite a number um, of other action cards. Most of these action cards in Lightning already have Go Again. So you would literally have to be pairing it with either another element or one of the elemental cards, like say Rejuvenate. Or specifically one of the either Ruin Blade action cards, um, Inspire Lightning, for instance. Oh god, that would just be dirty. And let's give Inspire Lightning Go Again after Lightning fusing it. Um, deal three arcane damage to a hero. So I think that one's a little trickier to play than the other two as far as bonuses go. Um, we'll have to see where that one fits in comparative to the other two. All right, so uh, this is Byako the Mistwalker. We're signing off for this video. Till the next one, even in Wraith, there is no escape from the tiger.